Hello and welcome to Ice Dice. Today is a quick takes edition where we're going to give our quick, well that's a relative term, quick impressions of the games ranked 81 through 90 on Board Game Geek. And this is from the beginning of May. They may even be changed by the time you see this. They are fairly volatile.
Shifting sands of time.
Yes, that is. Okay, so the first game is Ra, a 1990 game from Rio Grande Games, designed by Rainer Knizia. The theme is ancient Egypt, and it is an auction set collection game. So the way this game works is that there is a bag of tiles. Some of the tiles are good, and some of them are bad. Some of them you need to collect a certain number. So you're trying to collect some sets. That's why it's a set collection game. But the interesting thing about this game is the way the auction works. Is these yellow tiles, there's numbers 1 through 16, and everyone will have 3 of those tiles. So on each player's turn, they'll get a bag of tiles, and their choice is either draw another tile to put out there for people to bid on, and then you pass the bag, and then or what you can do is you can say, I think we want to bid on those tiles that are out there. So you have these yellow tiles, and you'll have 3 of them, and each person will put out what they want to bid. Well, actually, you have to beat the people before you, I believe. Mm-hmm. So when you win, you get all the tiles that are on the board, and then you take the tile that you bid with and put it out on the board. So the next time it comes around, you're not only bidding on those tiles, you're also bidding on that tile that people spent to buy their last ones. There's also a tile in there, a raw tile, which when that is drawn, it's an automatic auction right away. So what do you think about this game?
It is one of the quintessential bidding games because the decision making in this game, it has a unique decision making thing in this game. So you hand me a bag of tiles, right? As you earlier explained, I'm holding a bag of tiles and I'm looking at the board. If I contribute, then all I'm doing is helping out. I'm hoping it comes around, or I'm hoping it sweetens the pot so that I can bid on it. I'm looking at what I have, or I'm looking at it and saying, given what I know now, if I do an auction, do I either? There's 2 things when you set an auction. Either I need this stuff, or I want to get one of these tiles out of the bag. So come subsequent rounds, I have a better chance of winning. So that's a unique bidding aspect because it's all open information. So that's the fun. That's the allure of the thing, and it also rewards because this is going on where you're just as much your decision making is what everybody else has versus what I want. That's where it's got this great player interaction where people goad you into, you should call raw, or no, you shouldn't bid for that, or man, you really need a flood, son. You better call raw. You really need a flood. Yeah, I guess I do need a flood. It's great.
So what would you rate this game?
Love it.
Oh, really? This is a game that my rating is affected by the fact that I don't do very well at this game. I mean, I appreciate the design, but for some reason, this is a game that I'm rarely competing for first place.
I have played this game now close to 100 times. On one hand, times up one. On one hand, I get crushed, but I like the calling.
So I put just okay.
No, love it.
It's okay.
I teach it. I love it.
So that's Ra. Number 89 is Alien Frontiers. Alien Frontiers was, I think it was one of the first successful Kickstarters, and I don't mean successful in that they got the funding, in that it was funded via Kickstarter and was widely considered to be a decent game. But it's a game about space colonization, and it's a worker placement game, except your workers are dice, which there's several games like that, and plus an area majority for the planet out there. It's so the way it works is that you have dice and you roll them, and they have spots on these boards that will give you various resources or allow you to colonize the planet or draw some cards, things like that. And the spots are, well, to take this spot, you have to put 2 matching dice. To go here, you have to put a die that's higher than every other die that's already on there, and that kind of thing. Have you played this game?
No, I have not played. I would like to try, but placing the dice as worker placements is not got that great of an allure for me. But I know it's an okay game, but I've just never mustered up the excitement level. Like, yeah, I should give that a shot.
I've played it, and I actually like it. I think that it's as these dice placement games go, it's okay, but it's not one that I have in my collection. And but I will play it if people bring it out. So I would put it as a like it, and you put it as
have not played. Would like to try.
Like to try? Okay. Hey, well, it's out of print, so you notice the bottom line there.
Snooze, I lost.
It's out of print. But I actually have a question mark, because it may be one of those, because certain games, they're just out of print. It's more, not that it's out of print, but that it's between printings. In fact, I know that they have a Kickstarter for a big box edition, because there were several expansions to it. And just to tell you how successful this game, I believe their first Kickstarter, they got like $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
This last Kickstarter, the big box edition, $150,000.
The power of the social media.
Yeah, so that one's probably going to be available, but I think that's much more expensive because it's got a ton of stuff in it. So I assume it's going to be available again. 88 is Macher.
Macher.
1986. This is an older game. It's from Valley Games. 4 to 6 hour game about German elections. What every kid loves to bring to the table. So this is. I'm only going to briefly try to explain this one.
Oh Lord.
But the picture on the right here is the I think it's sort of like Parliament seats, except what it is your party will move up and down on those things. What they're representing is 4 elections. One of them is the current one, and the next 3 are future ones. On the left-hand side here is there's issues. And the farthest one on the left is the famous square tomatoes, which represents genetically modified foods. So your political parties may be for or against that. The other one is for the euro. Your party may be for or against that. Then there's also public opinion. The public may be for or against those things. So if you match the public, it gives you a bonus, and if you don't match, it gives you it hurts you. But through the use of media, you can influence public opinion on these things to try to get to match your party. Have you ever played this game?
No, I have. I witnessed you playing it for the 4 to 6 hours, and I commended you forever, because that, my friend, is a task that is commendable.
Yeah, that was 5 or 6 years ago. I don't even know how long ago it was. But it was one of those this used to be like the #1 game on Board Game Geek. And so it's like, well, here's an opportunity to play it. Let's play it. I do remember that I won, which normally I don't even remember whether I win or lose most games. But this one I do remember that I won, because I was kind of surprised. Wow, I actually did okay on this.
Was the theme enough where the square tomatoes and the general politicking? It weren't just because it just looks dry as toast. Because I've seen it being played like 2 or 3 times. One of the times that you were playing, and I just like, oh, that looks just like such a dry cube pusher.
Well, there's a couple interesting things going on. One is that whole public opinion thing, and the way you're trying to get the public opinion to match your parties. And if I recall correctly, I think there's also a way that you could suddenly, change your party's platform to match the public. But I think more often you're trying to change the public to match yours. That's good. And the other interesting thing about it is the fact that when you're taking your turn, your decision is, do I influence this election, or do I try to do one of these future ones to try to get myself set up for later? Maybe where this election is taking place, I can already see I'm not going to do that well, but I can see over in this one that's 2 elections from now, maybe I should start building up on that one. That's interesting. But is it more than just a cube pusher? No, not really. But excuse me. It is 1986 is when this game came out.
All right, let's.
So I really admire the design. I think it's ahead of its time. The biggest thing that I think that they didn't foresee with the whole Eurogame revolution is that those long games were not going to be very appealing to modern audiences. There's a lot of people that love those long games, but that is probably the thing with this game is it's an okay game, but it's not worth 4 to 6 hours of my time.
It's a long game where you're 4 to 6 hours and you're staring at a sheet filled with just, and you're like when you're future investing, you're just taking cube and you put it from cube point A to cube point B. That was your future investing. That was what you did.
No, it's been too long. But it is a cube pusher.
Hate drawing.
Well, it was. I was interested. I was never bored in the game because there's just enough going on that it's like just paying attention to it. So I do admire the design.
Okay, we give it props on that.
But I in fact, so when I rate it, I have to give it a like it, but that is one thing. It's like it's going to be tough to get me to play it because it's 4 to 6 hours. I mean, I could see some circumstances where someone just got the game, although it's out of print. It's been long out of print, and they said, "Oh, I really want to try this." If I was in a situation, you know what, I'll sit down and I'll play this game. But yeah, it's not something that I'm looking for. It's not, Macher, can I play? That's not going to be happening.
That'll never happen with me either. Not played, no interest.
Okay. Well, I don't blame you. It is, even though it was a forward-thinking design, 30, almost, or 25 years later, or no, wait, it's 30 years later almost. Yeah. It's, it is somewhat dated.
Somewhat dated.
Yeah, it is. Macher.
Bell bottom, somewhat dated.
Okay, number 87. Oh yeah, 87 and 86. 87 is Imperial Settlers and 86 is Sherlock Holmes. We already did the quick takes for Board Game Geek games ranked 91 through 100. At the time we did that, these two games were on that list. So instead what we're going to, if you want to know what we said about those games, go watch that video. Instead, we're going to talk about the games it appears these knocked out of the 80s. And that would be 98, Pathfinder Adventure Card Game Rise of the Runelords base set. That is the longest title in the top 100.
That's a hell of a title.
Well, yeah.
Rise of the Runelords.
So it's from Paizo Games. It's a fantasy dungeon crawls, I put, because there are actually multiple dungeons that you're playing on. But it's a cooperative deck building game. So, like in all deck building games, you start out with a deck of cards, and over time you will get cards to customize your deck, and you draw your hand, and you can play your cards. But it is sort of a dungeon crawl. It is cooperative. One of the things they add to it is everybody's got their own characters. That's this card in the cards on the left there, and there's cards for equipment, and there's cards for spells. On the bad people side, each location may have something special going on. There'll be traps and monsters and a big villain you're trying to get. But it is a cooperative game, and so everybody's trying to help everybody. Have you played this game?
No, I've not.
I own this game. I like this game. I don't get to the table very often. And I know some people are really into it. I have a couple friends that they buy every single expansion pack that comes out.
That's the thing. I've got friends who are gamers who I respect a ton, and they love the heck out of some Pathfinder. So I can't not give it props. I mean, it looks like if I was into that sort of thing, it's like most of the people that are hardcore into this that I know of that I respect a lot are former or still current Magic players. Magic, and then this is a good thing too. It kind of scratches the same itch according to them, but it doesn't. No,
Magic is two people fighting against each other. This is a team of people working to defeat various monsters and things.
Well, the card allure isn't the same. I got a cool card.
Yeah.
I know it's not a CCG, but the card allure is like, cool. Then this card does this. Let's go.
Sort of, because there's dice in this game too.
Oh, I did not know that part.
There's dice. And you have all sort. I mean, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, where you have to roll 2 8-sided and a 4-sided, that kind of thing. I do like the game. There's a couple things that I'm a little bit not that thrilled about. One is I don't think the artwork is that good on some of these. I mean, it's not bad, but it seems a little bland. And the other thing is that thematically, some of the stuff doesn't quite work. And it's been a while since I played the game, but I seem to recall that there are things like, oh, I'm in Dungeon A, I need help. Well, Dungeon B is going to shoot an arrow over from Dungeon B into Dungeon A to help you. It works, and gameplay-wise it works. Thematically, it doesn't work so well. But overall, I rate this as I like it. I like this game.
Never played it.
Oh, I could bring it sometime. You tried it?
Oh, Lord.
You don't have to.
Dungeon crawls aren't my thing.
Well, yeah. This isn't really
It's just not, yeah, it's not my favorite, the dungeon crawl.
Okay, well, the other game that was pushed out by those two we've already talked about is Bora Bora, a Ravensburger game designed by Stefan Feld about Pacific Islander trading, and it's a worker dice placement game similar to Alien Frontiers, and it's set collection. You're trying to collect a bunch of stuff. Yeah, so it's just like Alien Frontiers, you roll dice, and based on the values of those dice, you put them out there, and you can collect things, and there's powers. You've played this game, right?
I played this game, yes.
And
it is point. I think the point salad came into play, or what it was already in the world, but this thing put a couple of exclamation points behind it. Because okay, it's Bora Bora, and it looks like it's got a tropical thing, and you're doing tropical stuff on the island here, and it's kind of, hey, I like, a tropical island theme, and we're doing tropical things, we're doing stuff that tropical island people would do. No, you're doing this because you have to do this in order to score points, and you're doing this because you have to do this to score points, and should I do this? Well, it'll score you 15 points. Should I do this? No, it'll score you 15 points. I'm scoring 12 points. I guess I'm doing that. The theme is all you're doing is running numbers on the point style. I'm doing this, then I score some points. I'm doing this, then I score some points. It's just monotony, and the theme just drips away. And somebody has a little engine that builds points, and it's tied together with a theme just so thin. Oh.
Well, when you say point salad,
Tedium.
a point salad is where almost everything you do earns you points.
Yeah, literally.
And this game has that.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the dice worker placement game, and this game looks great. I mean, it looks great on the table. Great production values, and the gameplay itself. I mean, you're correct in that it is a point salad, but as point salads go, I don't think they get much better than this. I mean, yeah, of course, that kind of game is never going to be, my all-time favorite, but I like this game. I do. No, dislike?
Straight up dislike. No, he did this.
That's going to be the first time I
struck the fudge out.
That's going to be the first time I use the dislike icon that I've made. Oh, well.
I don't like it. It just, no. I won it the first time I played it, and I did a little hut, and I got some male and females, and we made a little love hut thing.
I don't think that's in this game.
It's something. Well, anyway, I got some boy natives and some girl natives together, and it got a little point engine going, but after the fact, I would think, that was fun, wasn't it? I'm like, it really wasn't, and that made me real mad that I was doing something that's that wholesome of getting a boy and a girl to fall in love, and I still didn't enjoy the game. Come on.
I hear everything you're saying, and I can see where someone would have that opinion, but yeah, I mean, I bring this to the table every now and then. I thought about bringing it to that thing we went to last night.
Okay, I don't like it.
That's fine. I'm saying I can understand why.
Boy, this is just...
Okay, well, that was the two games. We went back down, dipped back down to the 90s because we had some games we already talked about in the 80s. So back to the 80s. Number 85, Glory to Rome.
Glory to Rome.
Cambridge Games by Carl Chudik. The theme is Roman citizens doing stuff. I don't know how to put it. But it's a role selection game and a set collection game. So set collection that you're trying to get, matching cards of a certain thing. But it's role selection in that the cards have different roles, like patron and I think architect. And then you lay down we're going to do this role. And in certain circumstances, other people can do that role as well. Yeah, so what do you think about this game?
I'm marginally still like it. The legacy of this game is the poor artwork. Everybody who plays this game remarks on the poor artwork, and that is well deserved.
But there's two versions. What I have up on the screen now is on the left is the old version, and the new is what I think they call it the black box version. So, as far as the artwork goes, the one didn't hate the artwork as much as some other people did. It's a cartoony artwork, but the one that I actually even have it up here is that, what is it? Which one is it? The palace there. I think that's bad. But overall, I don't think it's that horrible. Now, if you look at the new version, it's going for a very flat, stylistic, iconic style of art. I don't think that's that much better. Gameplay wise, it's cleaner, but it still doesn't knock my socks off. But what about the gameplay?
Well, Carl Chudik is nearing Mount Rushmore. Well, he's one of the top designers, right? Because he had the innovation of the displaying the cards and the cards being tucked under and the cards moving on the game board. So you kind of knew your abilities based on how your cards were organized around this little cardboard thing. It's just like genius, right? So that's where the marginal like it is from. You can't knock the man for the brilliance of that design. The card's doing this, and you kind of know the power, and you know everybody else's power by just looking at this how the way the cards are designed. But he really knocked it out of the park with innovation. I love me some innovation. So I would not ever play Glory to Rome now that I know innovate. If I want to play the Carl Chudik, hey Carl, I give props to Carl. I'm playing innovation, but I know it's not the same game, and they don't do the same things, but. Carl Chudik for me is innovation. Carl Chudik for me is not Glory to Rome.
So what would you rate Glory to Rome?
Okay. Marginal like. Well, no, like.
You'll do like? I would put it as just okay. It's not a game that I own or particularly want, but I do know some people that really like it, and I will play it when they bring it to the table. He almost lost his house over this black box version. The publisher, not Carl Chudik.
Lost his house over the black box?
Yeah. The publisher is, it's Cambridge Games. It's like one guy, one man operation. Well, he did a Kickstarter for this game, and to fulfill all his promises, it was going to cost him much more than he brought in. And I think there were a couple different things. One is that the production costs were greater than were originally anticipated. But I think the other one of the things that really, ooh, boy, that was a big mistake, was that in the Kickstarter, he offered free shipping to any game store in the world. Well, the problem is, he thought, oh, well, I'll just have he'll use some sort of distribution network, but I don't know what the details are, but it didn't work out that way, and so he was going to have to eat a lot of those international shipping costs.
Ooh, gossip.
And
Publishing gossip.
Yeah, but I remember hearing, this was like in newspapers. The Kickstarter that was too successful, he's going to lose his house. But I seem to recall, I could be wrong, that he didn't actually lose his house, but he was in some dire straits there for a while. This is out of print. You can't get it anymore. I'm not sure what the status of the game company is now, but this game does have a lot of fans, so I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Yeah, that's where the marginal like comes from. I see this being played at a table. I'll stand by and watch him play for 5 minutes. Like, oh yeah, that's cool, because I remember that was how much fun it was back in the day, because it was so innovative with the cards and the displaying and stuff. But somebody says, hey, you want to play? You want to play Glory to Rome? I'm saying, do you have innovation? Oh yeah, I have that. I already read 7. I'm like, okay. Can we do that instead? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so that was 85, Glory to Rome. 84 is Dungeon Petz. Dungeon Petz is a yellow game from Vlada Chotl. I don't know if I pronounced that right.
Chotl, yeah, I think you got it right. Vlada Chotl.
The theme is that it's monster pet breeders, and it's a worker placement game. Let me see how many pictures. Oh, I guess I just have that one picture. But it's worker placement, and you have your guys. There's one thing that's not missing here, is that what I'm showing there is the main board that everyone shares. You also have your own personal board, and you can place people in either places. And on the right there is the monsters that you're building. What you see on the lower right hand side of those is the needs for those, and it's a tourney thing. So as they grow, they'll have more needs, and it's how much food do they have? How much poop do they produce? Can they eat meat? Can they eat vegetables? That kind of thing. Have you ever played this game?
I have not played the game.
I have not either. I own this game. I picked it up, I don't know if it was a trade or whatever, but I have it, and I did look over the rules, and I think it looks okay, but I've not played it, so I have it as Haven't played, like to try.
I have the same thing because of 2 words, Vlada Chara. Vlada is easily one of the top board game guys, and I think this was his first sequel. This is a couple of years before this came out. Dungeon Lords came out.
Lords, yep.
Dungeon Lords, and then that was popular, and then this thing came out. And Dungeon Lords had really great bits, and it had a really great idea in it. Where there's a lineup of monsters on the bat, and the worst monster would go after the most powerful jail keep, right? So, I mean, really a big point hit. But the second worst monster wouldn't do anything. So you had to try to be the second worst jail bad guy, which is an awesome idea. And then Dungeon Pet, and like you said, it's got some innovation here. So Vlada is just this great innovative design. Everything he touches, the main thing you think of is, boy, this guy's got a creative mind.
So what are? Oh, he did Mage Knights.
He did Mage Knights. He did one years ago. That's the Impossible title one where the 2 people are fighting and it's a spatial thing. But he did
Relationship Tightrope.
Yeah, I didn't know that was Rainer actually did Relationship.
Really?
Tightrope.
That's a Rainer.
He did Bunny Moose.
Really?
What is a freaking genius?
Dungeon Lords, I wasn't that keen on. I thought it was just okay at best. But part of the reason I got this was that I thought, it's a lot cuter, and I heard good things about it. But it is still a fairly complex game. There's a lot going on in this, but I don't know. I have played. Did we already say? I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
we both haven't tried. Would like to try because of Vlada, and look at how cute that those little dungeon pets are.
I'll have to study up on the rules and bring it around sometime so we can try it out. Maybe we'll have an update. So number 83 is Sid Meier's Civilization. This comes from Fantasy Flight, and it is about a 3-hour civilization building game that you have exploration and city building and combat, and you're earning technologies. And there's a ton of because it's from Fantasy Flight. There's a ton of pieces to this game. Have you ever played this game?
I have played this game,
and
I liked it for what it was. The thing was the designer I know is a good designer. Kevin Wilson's a designer, and he had the name over the title, Sid Meier Civilization. And if you ever know of a Civilization game, you know the word Sid Meier. You don't know Civilization games unless you know Sid Meier, right?
Yep.
Sid Meier Civilization game. So they have to give it the credit there. And I thought it was okay for what it was, but boy, oh boy, RD, there's so much stuff going on, and 4 to 6 hours, and I was really into playing old school, the first round of the Sid Meier Civilization games. I would like this a lot more, but they just didn't have that allure to me. But yeah, it's for what it is. I don't know if. I'm a but the other thing is I'm a through the ages guy.
Yeah, no, and they are civilization building, but the mechanics are so different.
They are.
This is there are more games that are like this, but I mean I'm a Civilization fan. Just to date myself some, I'm somebody that played the original version of Sid Meier Civilization.
I walked past many a dorm room where it was being played.
I still play that last version. I played even though my computer couldn't run it. So they have a screen where it's showing all fancy graphics. So like if you build a windmill, there's a windmill and a turn. I had to turn it to the icon-only view where it's just flat hex. But I still played hours and hours of it. So I like Civilization. And this game, I've only played it once. And then I saw it at a Dutch auction where, they set the price and then every hour it drops down. And it was fairly late on. And I was like, well, at that price, how can I pass it up? Especially since it had one of the expansions. The only issue I had with my first game was that I got... bad things happened to me early in the game. I didn't realize, because there's barbarians that will come and attack your cities. Well, I moved my army guy out of the city, and based on I figured it was going to be like the computer game where, if the barbarian comes out, he's going to attack me. My army guy. No, he went right around me and attacked my city, and I was trying to claw my way back after that. But it does have everything that Civilization has. It's got the city building, you've got technologies, and I think actually the way the technology tree works in this, and that what it is that when you get a technology, level 1 technology, let me put it this way. When you want to build a level 2 technology, if you look at this picture, you can see this pyramid here. You have to have 2 level 1s so that you can place a level 2 on. So you kind of got to build up to get up to those. I think as technology trees go, that works. And the civilizations have unique powers. The combat's a little convoluted, but my impression of it for my one play is that, well, I guess I'm going to say like it, but I really do have to play it a few more times before that opinion gets permanent.
Yeah, I would do a like it. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be but there's nothing in, like you said, there's nothing in the game that doesn't make sense. You build your armies, you're doing this stuff, and you're having economics, and that makes sense, and you can follow along even though it takes a fair amount of concentration to follow along, because boy, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. Well, it's a civilization, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but at some point you want it to be a little more exciting than it is.
Well, I don't know, I think it's got its excitement. Anyway, so I guess we give it a like it. That's number 83, Sid Meier's Civilization. Number 82 is Memoir 44 from Days of Wonder game. Richard Borg, 2-player World War II combat game. Have you played this one much?
I have not.
Oh, I have. Have you played any? Okay, this game is part of the Command and Colors series. And the way that works is that they have this board, and it's a hex grid, but it's divided up into 3 fronts, I guess we'll call them. A left, a middle, and a right. And you'll have cards that say, move 2 units on the left, or move 1 unit in each of the 3, that kind of thing. And that's how it works. And then combat is, you have various units that do things. Some are ranged, some are not, and you roll dice. And the reason it's called, so the cards are the commands. The colors are, because there's usually like 3 types of units, and your tanks will be reds, and your artilleries will be blue, and your infantry will be green, and I may have those completely wrong, but you get the idea. And so the colors are, is when you roll the dice, they have those symbols on there, and depending on whether you're attacking or defending, you want the matching colors, that kind of thing. So if you have you played any of the Command and Colors series?
No, I have not played the Command and Colors, but I grew I was raised up back in the day on the Avalon Hill, right? And Avalon Hill, and for a while, that was those were kind of the only game in town. And I quickly discerned the difference between my friends who are board game people, who are pure strategist people, versus people who are just, I want to have some fun playing a game. And the pure strategist people want there to be optimal play, and this happens, and so those old school Avalon Hill games are right up their alley because it's just pure strategist. So this is one of those pure strategist games, and I'm not. My brain doesn't like, I just need strategy right now. I don't need pure strategy.
This isn't pure strategy. This is closer to tactics than it is strategy. Oh. And there's just so much randomness. It's not like the serious war games where, okay, my turn, I get to move every one of my units, and you have 50 units. This is much smaller. You have a dozen, 15 units. And because you have those cards that determine. So you can't just say, this is my plan, I'm going to do this. You have to look at your cards and make the best use of what you have. So I've played this a few times. I played Battlelore, which is another game, but in a fantasy universe. And I think that's probably the only Command and Colors. There's also Ancient, I think it's just called Command and Colors Ancient, and there's Napoleonics. One of the big complaints people have about this series of games is they feel that front part, left, middle, right, and you play your card that says, I can move people on my right, and that's it. They think that's too confining. But that's not actually my complaint, because I think it's just something that you work with. It just represents bad communication lines, you just can't get through. I'm okay with that. But my issue with these games is because of the way it's designed with the left, middle, right, every battle, regardless of the theme of the game, which game you're playing, is the same thing. 2 lines coming together. Now, maybe they come together like this or like this, but it's always 2 lines coming together. That doesn't excite me as much. I have the game Hold the Line, which I think is from Worthington Games, where it's got some similarities to this, but you don't have that front aspect. So what that means is instead of starting with two lines that come together, you can start with one guy in one corner, one guy in another. You can start with one all completely surrounded, and I find that a lot more interesting than this. The one game I would like to try, so that Hold the Line is a good game. I've played it half a dozen times maybe, but it's cardboard pieces. Fantasy Flight actually has a game that has that same concept. Instead of being two fronts coming together, it's a grid, but that, it could be one guy surrounded, that kind of thing. Battles of Westeros, from the Game of Thrones universe.
Game of Thrones.
But I never see anyone playing that game. I've never seen anybody play it. I don't know if it's selling well, but I'd kind of like to try it because that sounds like it might be more interesting to me.
More popular.
You say it should be more popular?
Well, it's Westeros. Hello.
No, the game is not more popular than this.
No. I mean, but it should be more popular. If it isn't as popular as it should be because it's Westeros. Hello.
Well, that just tells you that the gamers aren't going to be just because the TV show's popular makes the game popular. It takes more than theme. But I haven't heard too many bad things about it. But so I put this game as just okay. It's okay.
Haven't played. No interest. Sorry.
No interest at all. Okay. Well, let's move on to number 81, the last game in our list. And that is Galaxy Trucker. Oh, well, there's another Vlada Chottle.
I knew that. I have it in my hip pocket. I didn't want to say.
Okay, so Vlada Chottle. The theme is that it's space cargo haulers. But you got to build your spaceship. So if you're not familiar with this game, the way it works is there's a big pile of tile out in the middle of the game that you are going to draw and put onto your ship. So it's simultaneous. There's no turns in that part of the game. It's you pick up a tile. Do I want it? No, I put it back. Do I want it? No. Oh, there's one I want, and you put it. And you're putting together your ship. And there's cargo space. There's guns. You have batteries. You have what else?
Engines.
Engines.
Shields. Astronauts.
It's a timed portion of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then once it's all done,
well, the thing that kicks it off is the first person that finishes their ship flips the timer, and then everybody says, "All right, everybody, finish your ship. You got this 1 minute or whatever it is."
Okay, so then once everybody's got their ships built, they go on a space journey, and things will happen, and it might be meteors coming at you. It might be aliens shooting at you. It might be you come across a derelict ship and you want to send people in there to get things out. But what happens is that these meteors and shots coming at you, there's dice rolls that determine, so your ship is on a grid, and it'll say, okay, this row and this column, or it comes from this side and in this row, and then it comes in, and if you don't have a gun to shoot the meteor or a shield, then it breaks your ship. And your ship can fall apart. It can be, if you get hit in the right places, your ship can be split in half, and one half just goes off into space. So it's build your ship to try to survive these disasters, and you just move around this track, and when you get to the end, whoever delivers the most, or you get money for each kind of good you sell, that kind of thing. What do you think of this game?
Oh my, this is in the rare category of games where the scoring, I actually tried to play it strategically once, and it was not as it's like Telestrations. The scoring doesn't matter because I had the exact same thing. I played it a couple times, maybe by my third, fourth time. I had a ship built, and it was an okay ship. And just out of dumb luck, and like you said, the rocks come in or bad stuff comes in, and based on the die roll. And I had a couple of fortuitous. I'm not. What's the opposite word of fortuitous?
Disastrous?
Disastrous. That's a good operative word. Well, anyway, two big rocks came, and they both rolled on the exact same number. Bang, bang. The second one cleaved my ship right in half, and it blew up, and it was thematic and dramatic, and it was awesome, and all my astronauts are floating through space, and everybody's laughing and howling, and I think we finished the game, but no one cared because it was just so funny because people ran up into the overall game room just to tell stories about how epically I failed. Oh, it was like we drank mead and we space mead, remember when your ship blew up? Oh, let's tell that tale again. It's one of those Of the board games I've played where tales are told, of legendary tales are told afterwards, I've got about 3 of them that are just Galaxy. Let us all gather around and tell the tale of the Galaxy Trucker game of 2007. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is that kind of game, but
It is for me.
I like that whole simultaneously building because it puts a time pressure on you, so it forces you to make quick decisions. Oh, yes, no, yes, no. And if it's yes, where do I put it? Where do I put it? And then you have to live with those decisions as you're going on. I like that part of the game. Where I could say, where people don't like this game is that whole, once you're flying around, all the things that happen, they think it's too random. I don't. I think that if you want to go into this as a serious game, well,
Yeah.
you're not going to like it. But as a just fun, hey, let's time pressure, and now let's see what crazy things happen, that's this game. I put it as a like it.
I put it as a love it. Even though I really shouldn't play it, I really am. I'm terrible at this game. I'm telling you. I not built a ship that would pass any government regulation standards ever. I always got a couple of pipes that don't quite fit, and I have to throw it off, and it leaks gasoline, and it goes through space, and it gets hit some rocks. My ships stink, but I never have fun. I never not have fun.
I like the game, but in part because I don't know that I do particularly well in it. I mean, I do okay, but I tend to focus on I need to build my ship well.
Yeah.
And even if it means I don't make much money, I want my ship to make it through, which is not necessarily a winning strategy.
You want it done right, or you want it done fast? Give me 3 hours, I'll build you a ship, son. But I can't just throw it together. It's not good.
Okay, well that's oh, there's a picture. I didn't pull this up.
That's look at that.
So if you haven't seen it, this is what it is. This ship is built on the fly in that thing where it's like, oh, yep, no, and you got to get it all put together, and then you fly it. No matter how ugly it is, you got to fly that thing.
Boy, my ship never looks that nice.
Okay, well that's the last of our games. This was our Quick Takes edition, Board Game Geeks games ranked 81 through 90. And that's it. So, see ya.
Goodbye.